Morning. Currently listening to Kendrick Lamar, Overly Dedicated. It's a great album. Kendrick Lamar was the artist who, by far and away, got me all the way to New York City. I was just basically listening to his entire discography every day, starting with whichever album I was most in the mood for, and then kind of swapping around. And so there are certain times when I listen to Kendrick where I get that sense of what it felt like to be biking to New York. And especially when I was really feeling the music, it was a really liberating feeling, very fun, just feeling like I'm out on an adventure. And so today, decided to start the day with Overly Dedicated, because it's definitely one of my favorites that Kendrick ever did, song after song. It's just definitely a masterpiece. You know, when it comes to King Kendrick, it's hard to do wrong. It is 8:07 a.m. on Tuesday, April 23rd, and I sort of resolved to wake up early and try to leave right when Snowbird did. I failed by about 5 minutes, but I did manage to pack everything up and, have a breakfast and, a somewhat leisurely morning, despite the fact that I left earlier than I typically do. And so now I'm kind of in pursuit of Snowbird, but not really. I don't mind the distance between us because we've already made a plan to meet at the shelter, so that we can all, touch base and stuff. But yeah, I had mentioned yesterday that my backpack was in a terrible state of organization, and I think I remedied that today, and it's feeling good. My backpack feels solid. I have my tent at the bottom, then I have my clothes in electronics and sleeping system in a contractor bag, and then on top of that is my food bag, and then strapped to the straps that hold the brain on top of my bag, I have my my Crocs. And so, this is all a process of getting more and more efficient, and I really like this setup right now. But even as I think about it, I suppose there's a chance that I could even sort of squish out the water from my tent on rainy days just because of the weight on top of it. So that's good. My backpack feels solid. I feel good. The night of sleep helped a lot with my legs. My heels still bother me a little bit, but I put an extra piece of duct tape on the area this morning, and it's feeling a lot better. And I'm using my trekking poles, so the impact is being lessened just a little bit with each step forward. And what else? Slept very well. I can't even count the number of times I have a dream, or maybe it's even just a feeling, that I'm off trail and for some reason couldn't finish the Appalachian Trail. And the sense of relief when I open my eyes and see that I'm still enveloped in my tent in various stages of, warm, cold, wet, dry, etc. I always wake up several times throughout the night, and I'll look at my watch and I'll see what time it is, and then I'll, fitfully toss and turn for what seems like 15 minutes, and then kind of look at my watch again, and a couple hours have passed, and I wouldn't have thought that I actually slept at all, but I certainly didn't have any concept of having been awake, or I didn't have any memories of, tossing and turning for hours. So it's interesting to sleep out here. It's very restorative, as long as you haven't hurt yourself too badly, I guess. And, I don't know, wake up pretty naturally, pretty easily. I think this morning got up around, this mud. We'll never escape this mud. Woke up around 6:45. I heard Snowbird stirring, and so I jumped into action. I knew I needed to get all my stuff together, and one of the reasons I'm such a slow packer is because I like to take everything out of my backpack and reorganize it in the morning. And if I was by myself, I would definitely do that each and every day. But last night, combined with the dissatisfaction of how things were already arranged, I basically prepped my backpack so that everything that was in it already, I knew where it was and why it was there, and all I had to do in the morning was put my other items that were already out back into it. And since they were already out, it was sort of like reorganization. It's just the little things you got to do. It's the difference between hiking with people or hiking by yourself. You have your little habits and routines and everything, and as long as you can manage your own stuff along with the timetables of everyone else, then everything is pretty much fine. But I don't know, you got to make sacrifices, I guess. That's the whole part of being in a relationship with people. So I just kind of bit the bullet and decided that everything was good enough in order to get out here quickly, and it feels fine. I would definitely still prefer to do things my way, but I'm not out here to indulge my previous habits and routines. I'm out here to forge new ones based on necessity and time. There's only so many days, there's only so many hours in a day, and we had that 3-day spell of terrible weather, and we still kicked ass doing big miles, long days. And so now, today in particular, it just feels so easy. Like, haven't really had any major climbs or descents yet, and the topography for the day didn't really look like it would lend itself to anything too vertical in either sloping direction. So yeah, we cut our teeth out here, man. Kind of like how Atlanta is a really dangerous place to bike. Like, if you are a quote-unquote successful cyclist in Atlanta, you've got some skills, because you're basically in the worst possible situations. And similarly with weather, man, the last 3 days were just incredible. And today's so mild by comparison. We're a couple thousand feet lower in elevation. There's not a cloud in the sky. The temperature's probably in the 60s and rising. It's probably gonna get pretty warm today. It's just so funny that yesterday we were getting sunburned, and the day before that we were literally freezing. And I know I've already said that, but if you experienced it for hours on end, sleeping in it, ducking in covering from it, it's significant. And again, that's sort of like the great thing about being out here. It's like, again, I don't think it answers any questions, but any questions you may have had coming out here kind of get pushed to the side in favor of the immediacy of the moment. Who cares about career choices or I don't know, anything that anyone could stress out about who isn't out here on a long walk when you're hungry and cold. It forces a perspective shift, whether you necessarily want it or not. And so, no answers, but a clean slate. I've been really bad about communicating with people, just in general, texting people, responding to Instagram stuff. There's no urgency for me to check that stuff, and I didn't really have a huge habit of doing it before, but combining my lack of interest with communicating with people outside with the fact that service is kind of spotty, it's like, even in the moments where maybe I would be interested in checking a message and responding, I may not be able to. So it's just like, well, fuck it all together then. I don't care. I'm not out here to relay this experience to someone on the outside per se, unless they're listening to this, and in which case, welcome aboard. This is the perfect vessel for you to at least experience this entire hike through my eyes. And I think yesterday I was thinking about cussing and stuff, and I was like, man, I cuss a lot. And I was like, I wonder if it makes any of my compatriots uncomfortable. Like, I think I do it in a tasteful way, meaning, obviously I don't do it in front of strangers. I don't do it when the situation calls for respect. Like, I don't know. I let someone else set the table in that respect. If someone else is cussing, perhaps I'll let a cuss word go. But unless I know you well, I don't really cuss. Which seems to be a good defining line between vulgarity and sacredness. But I know I don't think I said this yesterday, but I had the thought. Basically when I troubleshoot something or try to figure something out, or am in the midst of thinking, if it's sort of an active process, I cuss a lot. I cuss my way through it. And so I was thinking, man, for me, profanity is the mother of invention. Because, I'll sit there trying to figure something out, just cussing under my breath the whole time. It's like, motherfucking son of a stupid bitch, what the fuck is going on? Just stuff like that. And it's not really anger that I'm feeling. It's just like the need to solve a problem. Man, speaking of solving a problem, I might need to jump into these woods and take a poop. Been having my breakfast. Ooh, that looks like a good poop spot up there. Alright, I'm gonna get off trail for a minute. Alright, well, I suppose this is a natural goodbye. Very natural. I have my shovel on the outside. So, I guess I'll leave it there for now. And get back to you later. Bye.